I don't really even know how to introduce an episode like this one, except to say this is the introduction. This episode is going to be the bridge between the past and the future. You're definitely going to want to listen to this one the whole way through, all the way to the end, because it's got so much information to help you understand what's coming next. So if you have to cut out to like go change a diaper or something like that, totally understand. Just be sure and come back and finish it because you're not going to want to miss it. All right, let's go. It's review time. It's still review time, even though this is a big announcement episode. I still want to make sure you guys know how much I appreciate it when you take the time to leave me a quick review over on Apple Podcasts, or even if you send them to me by email, or maybe leave me a comment on YouTube. I appreciate it all so much for the same reason, and that is because number one, it encourages me, and number two, it helps me find other mamas just like you who need this information just like you do. Okay, so back in April 22nd, Magenta Sarah left me a review. The headline says, Teaching Us to Advocate for God's Way. Thank you, Lori. I was pregnant with my second child when I started searching for a Christian natural birth resource. I wanted to hear some encouragement from a biblical perspective, and you more than delivered. I have been faithfully listening, and I'm now 2 weeks postpartum with my baby girl. And both of my babies were born naturally at home. And I've been waiting to write my review so I could say she came out just like you said, or just how you said she would, God's way. Oh, I love that. We had a great birth, and this podcast has truly helped me be better prepared and helped me during my pregnancy. I learned a lot, and I recommend this to my friends and family who are considering or currently pregnant. Such a blessing. Thanks. Thank you, Sarah. That was precious to me because I love how many babies out there are finding their way out. Imagine that, right? The way that God planned it. And maybe you wouldn't have known to rely on that wisdom if it hadn't been for this podcast and for God giving me this platform. And I'm just so thankful to Him for it. And I'm thankful to you for taking the time to encourage me and also for sharing this with your friends, because that's one of the best things you can do. Is just tell people about it. It helps me, just like leaving the review does. It helps me find new people who need this kind of information. So thank you for that. If you are listening right now and you haven't left me a review yet, head over to Apple Podcasts, leave me a quick 5-star written review. It helps me so much. Or if you have like an Android or something and you can't do Apple reviews and you don't have a friend that's got Apple Podcasts that you could do it on theirs, that's fine. Head over to YouTube. Leave me a comment over there. Subscribe over there. That helps me as well for the very same reasons. So, with that, okay, the Your Birth God's Way podcast has been going on for 2.5 years now. My very first episode was either January 2nd or 3rd. I think my daughter's birthday is the 2nd. So I think it was either the 2nd or 3rd of 2023. So we've been going for almost exactly a year and a half. I have over 160,000 downloads thanks to you beautiful people who have listened and shared. Tons of moms have taken my course and they've had the births that they're dreaming of. And many of you, like the one that left the review today, have had the birth you're dreaming of just by listening to the podcast. And I'm so blessed by that knowledge, by knowing that so many of you have really made different choices because of what you've learned. By the way, let me just throw this in there. If you know somebody who used to listen to my episodes, to my podcast, maybe somebody that sent you here back when they were having babies, but we're 2.5 years down the road, they may not be listening right now, be sure to share this episode with them because they need to know what's happening too. Because one of the things that's going to be so great about the changes I'm going to share with you is that some of you who maybe have felt like the topics weren't as applicable to you anymore, if you're not pregnant anymore, you might find that future episodes are going to help you just the same as the past ones have. So hang in there. Be sure you share this with other mamas who have maybe led you my direction, or even other mamas who are maybe in postpartum years. You're going to see why I'm saying that in a minute. All right. So kind of as I alluded to, moms move on. Motherhood is a cycle, right? You go from wanting to get pregnant, getting pregnant, then you have the baby, then you're postpartum, then you might be in a few years of kind of none of those, and you're just kind of floating in the motherhood years. And so many of you still want to listen to the podcast, but it's really hard to justify the time, right? Because you're so busy with just being a mom, and maybe the topics don't seem like they're all that relevant to you right now, and you're like, oh, I'll go back and listen later, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. I completely understand it, but it's just busy being a mom. for little kids, big kids, any kids. It's just busy. There's a lot to take care of. And it's hard to listen to something that doesn't feel relevant right then. It's easy to say, I'll just come back and listen later. Meanwhile, some of you same mamas who have been listening to me all along through your pregnancy are still looking in the mirror thinking, my jeans don't fit. They told me this weight was just going to fall off. Like, I thought I was going to feel better by now. Why am I so tired all the time? Even when I got enough sleep, like I'm out of, maybe you're out of the brand newborn phase. You ought to be getting enough sleep. You are getting enough sleep by the numbers, but you just feel worn out. So many of you guys are wanting to make good health choices for your families and for your babies as they're growing, but you really don't know how. You don't know who to believe. You don't know which diet plan or meal plan is the best one. And so many of you have grown to trust me through the pregnancy years. I've had a lot of requests in my emails and in our Facebook group about different topics that I know are important, but it really hasn't felt applicable to the whole Your Birth God's Way title, umbrella, whatever you want to call it. And I'm so honored that you guys trust me that way. I appreciate that you all want to hear from me about how to navigate motherhood and figure this all out. It's a lot. It's a lot, especially if while you're pregnant, you have found out that there is a better way than just following all the medical advice that kind of has led us into this conundrum of everybody being sick and nobody having natural births, nobody having natural pregnancies. And so we're in this world where we're like, wait a minute, what they told me about pregnancy wasn't right. Is it possible that maybe some of this other stuff isn't right too? But you just don't know where to turn to get that faith-based perspective. I did a live video in my Facebook group a few weeks ago, and I had overwhelming support of what I shared with them then, which I'm about to tell you now. And by the way, if you're like, oh, I'm so annoyed that other people know and I don't, come join our Facebook group, right? Right? You could have known too. So come hop over into that. The link's down in the description. Link may be changing because the name of that also might follow suit as what you're about to find out. I posted a poll in there about this change, and 89%, the last time I looked, 89% of the people who responded were excited about the change. And by the way, I would guess that the 11% who were not super duper excited about the change are probably the newer listeners, which is totally understandable. And if you're one of those 11%, do not leave. I'm not leaving you behind. So please hang in there. I'm going to tell you what's next, and you're going to see it's going to fit you too. Okay? Here's the big announcement. Drum roll, please. If I was really good, maybe you'll see in post-production if I go back and add a drum roll, figure out how to do that, right? Right. Okay. I have decided to rebrand the podcast. Your Birth, God's Way is going to become If Mama Ain't Healthy, Ain't Nobody Healthy. It will become a podcast that serves Christian women in all phases and all seasons of motherhood, whether you're trying to conceive, whether you're pregnant now, whether you're in some stage postpartum, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years, maybe more. I'll tell you, I have worried about this a whole lot. I went back and forth about whether to just start a new podcast so that the old one can keep its name, because I know so many pregnant women find me when they become pregnant, and having that title with the words God's Way in it has helped so much. It's been a struggle. I have really gone back and forth about, should I do a new one or should I just rebrand the old one? But I feel like we have such a family here. So many of you have been here, some of you all the way since the beginning, that I don't want to break up the band, so to speak. I want to keep us together. So that's why I decided to go this route. This is going to be a faith-based podcast for Christian moms, so that information about being a Christian podcast is still going to be on my tagline. You're still going to be able to see it. But that name, If Mama Ain't Healthy, Ain't Nobody Healthy, it's really, the big letters are going to say If Mama Ain't Healthy. And then little letters will say Ain't Nobody Healthy. That came to me a few weeks ago. I think I was getting ready. I was in my bathroom and I was like, that's cute. I should do that. And it's a play on a phrase that I think that a lot of moms will see and identify with, and it will still bring new moms in. As I said, I worry about newly pregnant Christian mamas who are really needing pregnancy information for you all. I want you to know that all of those old episodes are still going to be there. And I know a lot of you, when you do find me, you kind of binge listen, you go back and get all the background information. So you're still going to be able to do that. And I'm going to put together a resource to help that be a little bit more searchable so that you can find the topics that you want and need. So I still, though, worry that new moms might not know that that old stuff is there. So I am working with a small group of moms who are going to help me kind of figure that all out, how to best make sure that I'm still serving pregnant mamas who find me and need that information that's there. And I'll still be making new episodes about pregnancy as well. It just won't be only pregnancy. I'm probably going to put together like a blog post or something like that that's indexed in a way to where you can click and find the topics that you need if you are pregnant and looking for, say, an episode about tandem nursing, an episode about GBS, an episode about miscarriages, an episode about home birth, all the different topics. That way you can find what you need. And like I said, I'm still a midwife. I'm not abandoning pregnancy altogether. It's just that won't be the only topic I talk about anymore. I've dedicated 146 episodes to that topic, and I want to continue to serve those of you who need a trusted source for pregnancy, but I also want to be able to serve those of you who need a trusted source for health and wellness information from a Christian perspective. And by now, I don't shy away from the tough topics, right? And I know there's some tough topics out there. It's hard to really get good information. It's hard to sort through them. So we're going to dive into all of those. Let me just say here, I'm happy to get your requests. And so if you already have things popping up in your head, you're like, oh, I hope she talks about this. I hope she talks about that. You can email me or you can send it to my SpeakPipe, which there's a link for both of those down in the description so that you can send me a message on Facebook, Instagram, any of those places. It doesn't really matter. Shoot me your ideas for the topics that you're hoping that I will cover. So why the change? Why am I doing this? Well, I kind of mentioned it earlier, but motherhood is such a cycle from our menstrual cycles, which is something we'll talk about, all the way through just the cycle of becoming a mom to becoming a mom again. Because most of us, I know there's a few that only have one child, but most of us have at least 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5. There's obviously everybody has a different number. And it's a cycle of going through conceiving, pregnancy, postpartum, and then maybe right back into pregnancy again, or maybe there's a gap of time where you're not pregnant. It's a constant cycle. And what a lot of people don't tell you is how sad it is that last midwife appointment. You've formed these relationships together, and now all of a sudden this person that you've seen at the end weekly, more than you see your own friends, because who's got time to see each other weekly, right? And now they're gone, unless that midwife also offers well women's care. And I'm a midwife that does both of those things. And so I was thinking, why for this podcast am I stopping really at the end of one of the shorter phases of life? Because most of us aren't in our childbearing years more than maybe 5, 10, maybe 15 years. There's very few who are, having babies for 20 full years. There's some, but not a whole lot. But all those other years, you still have concerns. You still have health needs. You still kind of want to sort through some things. And if we have built this relationship over all those 146 episodes to where you really don't want to leave, I get it. When you build these relationships with your midwives and you don't want to leave them, I've been there. So now you won't have to leave. You're going to have me throughout all of the seasons of motherhood. I've gotten, as I mentioned, questions all through while I've been doing Your Birth God's Way about things that are more general health related. It just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like it fit the topics of what I needed to be covering in a pregnancy podcast. I've also gone through some pretty big discoveries in health through my own journey, especially just in the last, it's June, so 9 or 10 months. And because of that, I've done a lot of research and reading and learning. And I know for a fact that nearly 100% of you who are hearing me right now are dealing with the same things that I was dealing with, but I didn't know it. And just like I didn't know it, but eventually something came down the pipe to wake me up to it, I want to help you see it so that you can make some real changes like I did and finally feel good. Finally lose those baby pounds. I was holding on to baby weight from 11 years ago. Okay. It was still there. I breastfed all my babies. Why is this weight not falling off? It was so frustrating. And it was all because I didn't understand what was going on with my body. I want to help you to understand what's going on with your body so that you can feel good again. You can enjoy motherhood. You're not worn out all the time. I want to be able to hold your hand all through all of the seasons of motherhood because there's things in each season that each of us needs. And I want to be able to help you. So, if you're wondering about things like that muffin top that just won't quit, if you're wondering about how can you possibly manage another child, you feel like you can't even hardly manage the one you got, right? How are you going to be able to handle another one, much less 2 or 3 or 5? Maybe you're wondering about how to make time for your health. There's so much to figure out for your kids. How do you have time to deal with your own? How do you take care of yourself? Maybe you're struggling with how to sort through this whole vaccine confusion because surely they wouldn't have told us that these were for our good if they weren't, right? Maybe you're still trying to figure out which food plan to follow so your family will be healthy because it seems like everybody's saying something different. These are just a few of the things that this podcast is going to help you with. There are going to be 3 big overarching aspects. One is going to be physical health. Underneath that, we've got things like nutrition, lifestyle, sleep. Y'all, we need to talk about sleep. Labs, how to understand them, biometrics, what does that even mean? Various illnesses, chronic diseases that you're dealing with, medications, and are they the same racket that vaccines are? We're going to talk about these things so you can understand them, okay? We're going to talk about them in a real life way with a faith-based perspective so we can always remember what matters most. The second big overarching aspect is emotional health. Emotional health and the next one, which will be spiritual health. Without these two, it doesn't matter if you get everything right in the physical one. It doesn't matter. Because if you miss it on these, those aren't going to matter. And the reason is because our minds have more power than we care to admit. So in the emotional health aspect, we're going to talk about mindset. We're going to talk about our relationships. We're going to talk about stress. We're going to talk about balancing it all. We're going to talk about nervous system and keeping our nervous system in check. We're going to talk about all that stuff. And then the third one, as I mentioned, spiritual health, which is just keeping first things first. Really, I should have put that one first, but I know so many of you are so hyper-focused on the physical aspect, but I want you to know we need to learn how to do what God told us to do, and that is to love God. And He told us to do this first, to love Him with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength. And that is the foundation of our physical health, by putting Him first, keeping Him first, looking at how He made us, not just for childbearing, but for everything. How He beautifully designed our bodies to work, and then working with that instead of fighting with it all the time. Because most of what we're dealing with in our culture and in our health issues all stems back to the fact that our world attacks us from every angle and works against the way He made us. So we're going to learn how to undo that. We're going to learn how to work with how He made us so that we can have the health He meant for us to have. So what does this mean for what I offer you? Well, of course, you're going to still get this podcast every week. In the course, the Your Birth God's Way online Christian childbirth education course is going to remain available for the time being. At some point, I've already started this a little bit, but at some point it's going to be updated and the format is going to change. So you can be watching for that. But those are the 2 things you're familiar with. Podcast is still going to stay. Course is still going to stay, at least for now. Okay. That's kind of a clue. If you need it, grab it. Okay. But I will also, this is really exciting for me. I am going to be focusing on working with you beautiful women one on one. You women who are tired of this broken system. This system that passes you from one doctor to the next. This doctor only deals with this and this doctor only deals with that. And so we get bounced around. No one ever really listens to you. No one really ever hears what's really going on for you. That system that has led you into feeling the way you do, I want to work with you beautiful ladies who are tired of that. And you're ready for somebody who will deal with the whole person and address the whole person and listen. Just hear what you're going through and what's gotten you to where you are now. I want to be working with you. I'm going to be working with beautiful women who know that there is a better way. You know in your gut that there's a better way. And you know, women's intuition, our gut feeling is valid. Okay. So you know there's a better way and you're ready to have that way. You just didn't really know how to get it. And so you're ready to have it and you're ready to finally feel well and finally feel like yourself again. Maybe you're trying to conceive. Maybe you're pregnant. Maybe you're 5 years postpartum. It doesn't matter because as a midwife, I am trained to work with all of you. And I'm excited to work with all of you, no matter which season of motherhood you're in, all tying back to motherhood because it's all intertwined and all tying back to God who built us perfectly to work, our bodies to work when we work with it. Another bit of exciting news. And I told you guys, you got to hang in here because there's a lot of stuff here. And I hope you haven't skipped out because you're going to miss out on good stuff. Okay. More exciting news. I'm offering one-on-one virtual prenatal coaching now. I've heard from so many of you that you wish you could find somebody in your area who taught and thought like I do, but maybe there's nowhere where you are. So I'm fixing that. Now, obviously, I can't be there to catch your babies. It's not prenatal care per se, but it's almost. It's the next best thing. Okay. If you are somewhere that you can't access the kind of care that you know you deserve, and you've been wishing that maybe I could be your midwife, but I'm just too far away, now I can. Kinda. It's not exactly conventional prenatal care, which is a good thing because this is better. What this is going to involve is in me empowering you to do your own care while educating you one-on-one on the same schedule like I would my in-person clients here locally in Tennessee. And you're going to be having it mirror the exact schedule as what prenatal care normally would, so that maybe if you have a provider, maybe your insurance covers a provider and you're seeing them because that's what it covers, but you really want to have somebody in your corner that thinks in more of a faith-based aspect and thinks in more of a natural way, you can have me as well. We can talk about the things maybe that you didn't understand from your 3-minute prenatal visit. And yeah, no, I know you were at the doctor's office. I know you were there for probably like 2 hours, but you probably only got about 3 minutes with your doctor, right? Or you're your midwife. That's the reality. And you walk out feeling disillusioned and like don't know which way's up, don't know what any of that meant. Now you can have me in your corner and you'll have access to me by text or messaging service. It's going to be a beautiful blend of all of the things that moms really need, which is support, education, and preparation. A beautiful symphony of those three. For those who aren't pregnant, but who are struggling with not maybe being able to get that baby weight off, like I've mentioned, maybe feeling tired, not and you don't think you should be, not feeling yourself, knowing you should feel better, but you just don't know how. I'm offering one-on-one concierge wellness coaching. One-on-one, us walking this road together, meeting at least twice a month, talking about what you're dealing with and then fitting that into my framework of helping you to get back to feeling like yourself, or maybe getting to feeling like yourself for the first time. Maybe you haven't felt like yourself in so long you don't even remember. You don't even remember what that means. We're going to look at the specific situations going on in your life to find the root causes of the troubles you are dealing with so that you can finally be heard and you can finally get real lasting results. Now, I'm not going to go deep here into what that all means or what it contains, but you'll be hearing more about it. So just hang in there. I just wanted to let you know what's available in case you are one listening and you're like, I need that like yesterday, so that you know that it's there so you can get in contact with me if that's something you need right now. Otherwise, I'll be talking to you more about it as time goes on, as different topics kind of fit into what I offer. So now I want to know, what do you think about all this? Like, I've just put myself out there, right? I've told you so much stuff and I'm just talking and I don't get any feedback immediately from the podcast format. But I want to know what you think. Even though I got great feedback from my group, which, by the way, most of you aren't in that group. Why? Come join us. But I'm a little nervous about how this news is going to be received. I really think you'll like it because it's going to serve you through pregnancy and in the years following, not just pregnancy. And now you're going to have a like-minded advocate to help you navigate motherhood well beyond those newborn years. If the changes you make during pregnancy make you realize that the rest of your life needs change as well, this podcast is going to help you know how to do that. It's going to help show you the different little things here and there that you can tweak to give yourself a better overall lifestyle, a better, healthier outlook on life. You're going to have me in your corner as long as you want me there, right? If you're not pregnant now, but you do become pregnant in the future, you're going to have a vault of old episodes to work back through as needed, plus some new ones from time to time on pregnancy. So it really covers all aspects of motherhood. So anyway, I want you to let me know what you think. So how do you do that? Well, you can go over to my Instagram. My Instagram has changed a little bit. It's now at Lori, Lori underscore Morris, Morris underscore CNM, which is Certified Nurse Midwife. That's my Instagram handle, so you can find me there, Lori underscore Morris underscore CNM, or in my Facebook group. I'm not going to link this here right now. I'm not going to tell you the link for it. As of today, as I'm recording this, it's facebook.com/groups/yourbirthgodsway, but that'll be changing. So just watch the links. If you're listening to this, like weeks down the road, just look down in my show notes and you'll be able to get the current link. If you're listening, like I said, if you're listening 2, 3, 4 weeks down the road, and you click on the link and it doesn't work, just find one of the brand new episodes so you can get the right link. Okay. My Facebook page won't be changing. It's facebook.com/Lori Morris CNM, all one thing together, Lori Morris CNM. Or you can email me at lori@yourbirthgodsway.com. By the way, you're going to start seeing another little umbrella of a name. All of this is living, the Your Birth God's Way old episodes, the If Mama Ain't Healthy new episodes, the coaching services, the courses, they're all going to live under the title, under the heading, under the umbrella of Morris Wellness Services. So you might see that pop up. My email address, I'll also have one over there. So that's me. That's what it's all under. So just to clarify that in case you see it, that's kind of like the big heading of it all, so that it describes everything that I offer now. So I've talked a lot. I hope I've made it clear. I hope it makes sense. If you have questions, of course, contact me for that as well. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, you can, of course, comment below. Share the episode, share the video, share all the things, and let me know what you think. And I will be back next week with a new podcast art. It'll look different in your podcast app and all of that stuff. Okay? I'm excited about it, and I hope you are too. See you next week.